The message arrived on a Thursday evening. Not for me, but for everyone else. My family group chat, usually silent unless it was someone's birthday, suddenly buzzed with excitement. Photos of a glittering diamond ring, fancy invitations embossed with gold letters, and a caption from my mother. Orion is finally engaged. Big celebration this weekend? Family only ring red. I stared at the screen, rereading the message. Family only. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I couldn't type anything. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she'd meant to send it privately to relatives in town. Maybe she'd forgotten me. But the next day, I got my answer. Dad called me while I was leaving work. His tone was casual, like he was calling to check on my car's oil level. "Elena," he said, "just wanted to let you know there's a small thing for your brother this weekend. Nothing big, just a reunion of close family." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Oh, a reunion?" He chuckled lightly. "Yes, sweetheart. You don't have to worry about coming down. It's not really your kind of thing. Not my kind of thing." I bit my lip so hard it nearly bled. The sound of traffic drowned out my silence, but the ache in my chest was louder than anything. Ryan, my older brother, my childhood partner in crime, was getting engaged, and I wasn't invited. That night, I scrolled through social media, half torturing myself. My mother had already posted a countdown story. So proud of our son and his beautiful fiancée. My aunts were commenting heart emojis, even family friends. People I hadn't seen in years were tagged in the photos. Not me. I sat in my small apartment, staring at the glow of my phone until it blurred into tears. The walls felt tighter, the silence heavier. I had spent years trying to prove myself to them. The good daughter, the responsible one, the one who never caused trouble. Yet somehow I was always the extra piece that didn't fit. By Saturday morning, I made a decision. If they didn't want me there, fine. I wouldn't sit at home feeling sorry for myself. I packed a bag, booked a last-minute trip to Aspen, and drove 6 hours through the snow. Music blaring loud enough to drown out my thoughts. The cold air hit my face like freedom. The white mountains stretched endlessly before me, pure and silent, everything my family wasn't. I checked into a small lodge, ordered hot chocolate, and laughed bitterly at how peaceful it felt to be unwanted. On the day of Ryan's engagement party, I woke up early and went skiing. The snow was powdery, untouched, glittering under the pale morning sun. My fingers trembled as I took out my phone and snapped a photo, me in my red jacket, goggles reflecting the mountains. I posted it with a simple caption. "Sometimes the best parties are the ones you throw for yourself." Skis snowflake hash peas for the first time in days, I smiled. It wasn't about revenge. Not yet. It was about letting go, about reclaiming something small and quiet that still belonged to me. Hours later, I was sipping coffee by the fireplace when my phone started buzzing. One notification, then another, then dozens. My brother, my mother, my father, all calling. Missed calls stacked up like a warning. Then came the messages. "Elena, where are you? Call us back now. You shouldn't have posted that." My stomach tightened. I stared at the screen as more notifications rolled in. What could they possibly be so desperate about now? I finally opened one from Ryan. His voice message was shaky, panicked. "Elena, something happened. Just call me, please. Something happened." I froze, the warmth of fire suddenly too hot, my breath shallow. My hands trembled as I replayed the message. What could have gone wrong at a perfect party? I wasn't even invited to. Outside, snow began to fall in slow, silent flakes, peaceful, unaware of the storm that was about to reach me. For the first time in years, my family wanted my attention, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to give it. The calls didn't stop. By the fifth one, I finally answered, not because I cared, but because curiosity burned stronger than anger. Ryan's voice cracked through the speaker, sharp and breathless. "Elena, thank God. Are you okay?" I frowned. "Emmy, I'm fine." "Why wouldn't I be?" There was a pause, the kind of pause that screams guilt. Then he sighed. Something happened at the party. There was a fire. The decorations, some candles fell, and a few people got hurt. "But you're okay, right?" I blinked, confused. "Ryan, I wasn't even there, remember?" He went silent. The line filled with the faint sound of chaos, people talking in the background, a woman crying, someone giving directions. Then he muttered something that cut deep. "We thought you might have come anyway, to make a scene." Make a scene? Ugh, at your engagement? You didn't even invite me. Before he could answer, I hung up. My hand trembled, fury simmering beneath my skin. So that's what they thought of me. A bitter sister too jealous to stay away. The truth wasn't fire or accident. It was betrayal, layered and deliberate. Later that night, I scrolled through social media again. Videos of the event were already circulating. Laughter, champagne glasses clinking, the sparkling ring, and then chaos. Footage showed smoke filling the tent. People running. No one was seriously injured, but everyone was shaken. But what caught my eye wasn't the fire. It was him. Daniel? Standing beside my brother in a tailored suit, hand on his shoulder, laughing in the early clips. My ex-boyfriend. The man who'd once told me I was too distant for love. He was there, smiling, comfortable part of. The caption beneath the post read, Orion and his best man, Daniel. Family through and through. I felt my pulse quicken. Best man. My ex. Suddenly, everything made sense. Why they hadn't wanted me there. Why Dad had downplayed it as a reunion. They hadn't just forgotten me. They'd deliberately hidden it from me. The family that once pretended to protect me had really been protecting their own image. Mom's messages in the days leading up to the party replayed in my mind. Vague excuses, quick subject changes, forced cheerfulness. They'd all known. And when I'd posted that ski photo, pretending not to care, they'd panicked. Not because they missed me, but because the world might notice I wasn't invited. I sat by the window, staring at the moon reflecting off the snow. My heart ached, but beneath the ache something colder was forming. Not hatred, but clarity. They had taken everything I'd done for them. The quiet loyalty, the forgiveness, the endless second chances, and traded it for convenience. I wasn't family anymore. I was a liability. The next morning, I got a call from my mother. Her tone was tight, controlled. Elena, honey, why did you post that picture? People are asking where you were. It made us look like you didn't care. I let out a humorless laugh. You didn't invite me, Mom. What was I supposed to do? Sit home and pretend I didn't exist? She hesitated. We just didn't want things to be awkward with Daniel. You understand, don't you? For your brother's sake. Her words twisted like a knife. You didn't want things to be awkward for him. What about me? There was no answer, just a long silence, then a soft click as she ended the call. I stood there, holding the phone like it was made of glass. My reflection in the window looked unfamiliar, colder, sharper. Somewhere deep inside, the hurt began to harden into something unbreakable. They thought they could erase me quietly. But they were about to learn that even silence has an echo, and mine was just beginning to rise. When I returned home 2 days later, the world felt different. The city was gray, heavy with melted snow, the kind that leaves behind dirty puddles and footprints that never quite fade. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it. Neat, quiet, detached. But something inside me had shifted. My phone still buzzed occasionally with family messages, mostly damage control. We hope you understand. It was just a misunderstanding. Don't post anything else, please. Every text was written like a press release, polished, emotionless, terrified of exposure. They didn't want to fix things. They wanted silence. My brother and his fiancée, glowing. My parents, beaming. Daniel, laughing with them like he'd always belonged. And then a detail caught my eye. In one photo, my mother's caption read, Our family, all together for this special moment read all together. I almost laughed. I was nowhere in sight, yet she'd written those words like a script, pretending perfection for her friends to admire. It was a strange feeling, not anger anymore, but something quieter and far more dangerous. I realized I didn't want revenge that screamed. I wanted revenge that lingered, something that would make them look in the mirror and flinch at what they'd done. That night, I started gathering things. Screenshots, messages, dates, every little detail they'd conveniently written to make me look distant, cold, and dramatic. I didn't know what I would do with it yet, but I collected it all, like snowflakes gathering before an avalanche. Days passed, and I went back to work, back to pretending life was normal, but inside. My coworkers noticed a change in me. I smiled more, but my eyes stayed colder. Then one evening, I got a text from Ryan. You're coming to the wedding, right? No hard feelings? I stared at it for a long time, the audacity. The same brother who had excluded me now wanted me there, not for family, but for image. My thumbs moved slowly as I typed back. Wouldn't miss it. But what I meant was something else entirely. That night, I stood by the window watching the snow fall again. The flakes drifted softly under the streetlight, each one unique, fragile, and fleeting. Yet together they could blanket an entire world. Silent, unstoppable. My family had always underestimated me because I stayed quiet. They mistook calm for weakness, forgiveness for naivety. But they were about to learn that even snow can burn when it falls just right. The wedding was 3 months later. A grand, glittering event by the lake. White roses, chandeliers, and laughter that sounded rehearsed. Everything looked perfect, like a magazine spread. And like every perfect thing my family built, it was balanced delicately on lies. I arrived quietly, dressed in a soft silver gown that shimmered under the evening lights. No one expected me to show up, not after everything. My mother's eyes widened when she saw me, her polite smile flickering for just a second. "Elena, you made it," she said through clenched teeth. I smiled. Of course. It's family, right? Her lips pressed tighter. I could almost hear her thinking, "Don't cause trouble." The ceremony went smoothly, all glamour and golden speeches. I clapped when expected, smiled for photos, and stayed perfectly composed. No outbursts, no scenes. Just silence sharp enough to cut through the air. After dinner, as the guests mingled, I slipped away to the terrace. From there, the laughter floated faintly through the glass doors. I pulled out my phone and hit upload. The video went live instantly. The one I'd been building for weeks? It started with family photos, all smiles and captions about a togetherness. Then it shifted. Texts from my father telling me not to come. My mother's voice message asking me not to make things awkward. And a shot of Daniel. My ex, standing proudly beside my brother, both laughing. My voice narrated softly in the background. Sometimes, family isn't the people who love you, it's the people who need you quiet. I learned that silence protects lies, until you decide it won't. No anger, no accusation. Just truth laid bare with calm precision. By the time I returned inside, the whispers had started. People were checking their phones, murmuring, turning to look at my parents' table. My brother's smile faltered as his fiancé's face drained of color. I didn't stay to watch it crumble. I'd seen enough. I walked outside into the cold night, the air biting at my skin, and for the first time in years I felt warm. The snow had started to fall again. Soft, slow, pure. My phone buzzed. It was my father. I declined the call. Then another? Ryan. Declined. They would try to spin it, to twist it into something dramatic, something they could control. But the truth doesn't fade once it's spoken. It lingers. It freezes in people's minds like frost that never melts. As I reached my car, I looked back one last time at the glowing hall by the lake. A fragile world cracking beneath the weight of its own perfection. I whispered to myself, "You erased me once. Now you'll remember me forever." The snow kept falling as I drove away, silent, endless, and free.